Hello everyone, it's Melissa here. We are shooting WTF or Wednesday Thought Forum, episode 30, and this is our Halloween special. Ooh, spooky, spooky. Anyways, hence my costume, last minute. Sorry, not the most creative or original, but it is what it is. So today we are going to be talking about negotiation skills, six effective negotiation skills that you need to learn to master to help you out in everyday life. If you jump on here, be sure to wave so I can see who's joining us and acknowledge you. And if you have any questions, please drop those in the comment box so that I can address those and we can interact. But anyways, again, we are doing 6 effective ways to negotiate or master negotiation skills. And I have 6 of them for you tonight. So this topic kind of came up because of Halloween. For those of you not in the U.S., our Halloween is, hi Julie, nice to see you. Hi Teresa, nice to see you. Thank you too for joining. I'm just going to go over 6 negotiation tools that you would use in life. And it's our Halloween special, hence my new look. So anyways, again, this topic kind of came to light to me because I don't know if you remember as a child going out trick-or-treating, and when you get back home, first thing you do, or I know that my siblings and us did this, first thing you do with your friends and your siblings, you get back and you dump all your candy out and then you start negotiating. So these skills start at a very early age. You just probably didn't recognize it. You know, I'm going to trade my 3 pixie sticks for your box of Whoppers, or, you know, 3 pieces of bubble gum because I would like your sprees, you know. So I don't know if you guys did this at home, but I know it was a thing growing up in my childhood. So I thought negotiations would be appropriate for this time. Same thing, it works for adults too. So, you know, you could be out in your yard building a deck and someone stops by and say, hey, can you help me with that? I need to build a deck, can you help me? And then you exchange services like, yes, I'll do that if you can come over and decorate my room or something. So negotiation skills are for everyone, young and old. So anyways, what is a negotiation? So it's a way that people try to settle their differences and come to a compromise. But you try to reach an agreement that's common ground for both people. Both people are looking for a fair outcome when you negotiate. So where are some of the times that you may negotiate? Well, this happens in the workplace a lot. It happens in our personal lives, and believe it or not, it happens with ourselves. We negotiate with ourselves daily. You probably never thought about that one. We're going to cover that one here real quick. But we'll first start with like work or business. You may need to negotiate a salary or maybe schedules as far as you know, vacation time or something of that nature. And depending on what kind of business you do or work for, you may need to negotiate with clients on the daily. So this WTF episode should help you with that. As far as personal, you know, we do this a lot. We probably don't even think of it as negotiations, but you may have a significant other in the house or children or something, and you may make deals with them like, hey, I'll cook if you promise to do the dishes, or if you could do the laundry, then I'll be sure to take out the trash tomorrow. Things like that, you know, they're really simple. But as far as ourselves, you probably never thought that you negotiate with yourself every day, but how many of you have actually, in your mind, several times a day, probably thought, okay, what am I going to do for dinner? Am I going to do takeout, or am I going to cook this? Maybe I won't, but should I maybe eat chips or veggies before I go to bed? I don't know about that. Gosh, what am I going to do for lunch tomorrow? Or, you know, I have a fever. Should I go to the doctor now or wait until tomorrow? So, you know, these are all things that you can now probably sit back and think that, yeah, I do negotiate with myself every day. I know I do. So why are negotiation skills important? Well, it's important to interact with others. It's human nature to interact with others. So this is an important skill to have. Many of us have probably already experienced this. Let's just say we're going to go buy a car or a very, very expensive computer or piece of a tech equipment or something. You know the vendors always have that increased price, and it's not anything that we want to pay. So that's an example of that. I may, as far as personal, I may disagree with my husband because he tells me that my butt looks big in a pair of jeans. He would never do that, so don't think that. But you know, if it were me, I'd go on and put a tighter pair on. But anyways, you get the gist of this. It's basically just negotiation skills, and you may not even think that you are negotiating, but you get the idea. So as long as we are interacting with people, then we are negotiating, or we at least need to learn to negotiate better. So here are the 6 negotiation skills that you should try and master. The first one is preparedness, and that means to know who you're negotiating with. You want to have an idea or a feel of what the other person is expecting as the end result. And then you also have to have an idea of what you're willing to compromise and what you want your end result to be, worst case scenario. I'll give you an example of something that happened to me lately. I don't buy off of Etsy too much, but I was researching a Cricut, and for those of you that don't know what Cricut is, it's a crafter's dream. It does a lot of die cuts. It can cut over 300 materials, and it's for a lot of crafting things or t-shirts, things like that. And they're pretty pricey. They can run from about $179 on a good day up to $300 or $400 depending on what you get. So I was researching it, and I found one on Etsy, and it was for $160. I'm like, okay, great. And it's a buy now. And I said, or it's best offer. So I was like, all right, I can do this. So I offered $125, and I did this on a 12-hour response. So they had to respond to me in 12 hours or the deal was off. And ironically, they responded very quickly. I mean, within like 5 minutes. And they responded with a deal of $135. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is really good. And I also thought, oh, this poor person, they probably don't know much about eBay. So I settled for that. And I said, sure. So we made the deal. And then I looked after, and this goes back to preparedness. I was not prepared. I looked at this person's history, and they had just signed up with Etsy that very same day, probably just minutes before they made this deal with me. And that means that they probably don't have one. They just used someone else's eBay selling pattern with the words and put up a fake picture, and they got me. So actually, a joke on me, I was the one who was not prepared, and I was the new one to eBay. So luckily, I was able to get my money back, but that was my fiasco with that one. So the next thing is, number 2 is to have clear communication. And this is very important. You want to be able to communicate effectively what you want. And while you're doing that, you need to both be able to communicate that both verbally and in writing. But while you're doing that as well, you also need to pay attention to them to find out or understand what they are wanting as well. Because how many times have you been in a negotiation and you think you've hit common ground at the end, and then there's a surprise. Oh, hi, Casey. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's nice to see you here. We're just talking about negotiation skills, so you might want to roll back and listen to from the beginning. But thanks for joining. So you want to be able to communicate effectively what you want. Number 3 is active listening. And we touched on that last week about effective listening skills. So this is very important when you are negotiating because you want to focus on the speaker. And then you, again, need to keep that open mind when you're listening to them because you have to be able to understand everything they are conveying to you that they want. And you'll also get an understanding that they do understand what you are asking for as well. And if something is not clear, be sure to make follow-up or ask follow-up questions so that you fully understand what you're committing to. Number 4 would be is collaboration and working together. Some people think this is obvious, and it is obvious, but we need to be able to be willing to work with the other person and hit a common ground, and that's going to be compromise. So we're not going to get everything that we want. So you have to be able to, it's just a give and take, and know what's more important for you to keep and more important for you, or less important for you to give. So again, keep an open mind and be sure to listen to what the other party is saying. Again, the end goal is to get what is most important to you, and they're going to do the same as well. Number 5 is problem solving, and not many negotiations go smoothly or as what you are planned for them to do. You have to be prepared to be able to problem solve on the fly. This is why you need to actively listen to the other person and understand and make sure you understand what is being said. And lastly is number 6, which is decision making. You have to be able to make a decision. Right or wrong, you have to be able to make one. So one thing that you could do is you could create a list of everything that you are willing to compromise, and then keep a list of things that you are not willing to compromise. And as you negotiate back and forth, you just kind of check that box off, so that you know where you are and you know what has already been discussed, so you can make those sound decisions. And then you're going to end up most likely with a reasonable negotiation for yourself. So to conclude, again, we almost every day in our lives, whether it's at home, our personal lives, or with ourselves, we're making, or we're having to make negotiations, or negotiating with someone. Again, even if it's with ourselves. But having these negotiation skills are important to build relationship with others, whether it's in the workplace or in our personal lives. So learn and practice these skills, and you'll be able to be more productive as well. Keep in mind, negotiation skills are always under construction. I know, last minute humor. But anyways, there's always room for improvement when it comes to negotiating. So if you like this content, again, you can find me at thinkmefirst.com, and there's tons of self-help articles there, as well as a whole section on narcissism. And then you can also find me, hi Lindsay, Lindsay is joining us now. You can also find me on Pinterest at pinterest.com/Missy Think Me First. Also on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and just search Melissa Shim, all the WTF videos will come up. I also have a new site. It's called Fierce Yet Feminine, and you can go there. I'm on Etsy with that as well. Just opening up another shop of some digital prints. And if you want additional tips, tricks, and hacks in regards to self-improvement, I also have an email that you can sign up at thinkmefirst.com. And I usually send 1 to 2 emails a week, again, with just additional information that you won't find in my site, or you won't find here. It's just for my email group only. But again, I thank you for all joining me this morning. Have a safe and happy Halloween. And remember, thank me first. Bye. Have a good day.